Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. This is video number 4. Now, let's listen to I've already shown Shem how he shot himself in the leg by using the issue of the violation of Asma wa Sifat, the 3 daughters of Allah, how the Islamic Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not hold any daughters, violates Asma wa Sifat, and his usage of the argument to show a difference between the Trinity and the Allah of the Quran based on the Asma wa Sifat, that they're different, that he just destroyed his own argument and his whole debate. Now let's just keep going for the sake of the discussion here, and please, forgive me. I want to apologize to the viewers, but that was a bit of an interesting point, a very exciting point. I don't want to claim here, Victor. You're the ones who are actually judging this, so forgive me, please. Let's just go with the discussion.
So there's a lot of material jibreelk has to deal with before he can go around claiming there is no evidence for the Trinity in the Old Testament. Finally, and more importantly, jibreelk doesn't seem to realize how damaging the views of the disbelieving Jews are upon his own beliefs. He does not see how the teachings of these Jews severely undermine the claims of Muhammad and his Quran.
I do want to ask Keith and Sam, again, when did I make a parallel and I've claimed any kind of, did I not claim actually an actual misalignment between the beliefs of the Jews, the Christians, and the Muslims? And I keep stating it again and again. The theology of the Jews and the Christians, and of the whole world, other faiths for that matter, is not in line with Islam. And we look throughout the history of Prophet Muhammad, that he claimed that. He called people to come back to the one and only true God, the creator of heavens and the earth, and claiming that what they've actually distorted, and that they need to come back to the reality of the one and only God. I've made parallels and certain linkages between showing the change between the beliefs of the Jews, their theology, and the theology of the Christians. They're not one and the same. That's why I'm telling you, they're not the one and the same. That can be, the whole issue of the Trinity and the link between the two can be discussed in another debate. Again, I'm only bringing it up to clarify the point. Now, I did not use Judaism and their views, and that's the whole point. I argue with Jews when they call Jesus a bastard, and forgive me, astaghfirullah, may Allah forgive me. The one who says does not mean it necessarily, just to reiterate, but to call him call his mom an easy woman, just for a lack of, to use better words, for example, is that, shame on them, to call Jesus the blessed, the amazing, the beautiful prophet of God, to call him that. I argue with them that he was born of a virgin, that he was the Messiah, that he was this and that, and he was a righteous, one of the most noblest people to ever walk this earth, and that we love him dearly with all our hearts, and we would not be Muslims if we wouldn't do that. And so I would never, ever go and agree, or even try to use, the beliefs of the Jews. I've only showed you the difference, and that is it. I don't use the beliefs of the Jews to show basically that Islam is necessarily, that they have the same belief, that their theology, the theology of Islam, is the same as the theology of the Jews. I never did that. Now let's keep going.
For instance, Orthodox rabbinic Jews do not believe.
Go to point 130.
And accept the fact that their beliefs prove that Muhammad is a false prophet and Allah is a false God. Next, jibreelk encourages people to read articles on the Old Testament Trinity, but offers no response to the arguments provided. He merely dismisses the...
I'm telling you, it will be a whole different discussion. I'm not scared of this discussion. That's why we're here. If you want to discuss about the Trinity and the Old Testament, not a problem. Not a problem.
And calling them pathetic. I'm sorry, that is not how you engage in proper dialogue.
Exactly, that is not how I engage in proper dialogue. I don't think I've called it pathetic. If I did, I'm sorry. I don't think I did, but if I did, I can't remember, and I'm sorry. That is a weak argument. If I did say pathetic, I do admit it. And please, if you do want to talk, I'm ready, as I said, about the Trinity. Nowhere to run. Again, I'm reiterating, I'm restating, so you don't say I'm scared and that I'm evading any kind of thing. I just don't find, and you know that it's not because you've. I mean, the whole issue is about Allah being Satan. Look at the title here. And half of your discussion is about trying to prove the deity of Christ. Now, is that academic, and that's why I am not engaging in that.
You actually have to address these issues. I can say that.
No, I don't have to address these issues. The whole issue is about Allah being Satan. That those issues can be addressed in a whole different debate. Now, let's go to point 2, because this is where it gets really, really interesting and people have to pay attention. I hope I can finish in this discussion.
The Arabic Bible in John 3:16, he has to admit that it is not a friend of Islam, since it teaches that Jesus Christ is God, by applying the Arabic title Rab to him. Shimon argues that since the Quran and Islamic literature says only Allah is Rab, master who has full authority over his property, and the Arabic Bible says Jesus is in fact Rab.
Now, where did the Quran say that Allah is Rabb? Allah is Ar-Rabb. Okay, Ar-Rabb al-Alameen, the Rabb of the words, the Lord and cherisher and sustainer of this whole world. But I want Sam Shamoun to come and to show us where, and we're going to show the usage of the Ibn Kathir's quote here and see how Sam is missing the point. But we do want, and I want to go back again.
By applying the Arabic title Rab to him. Shimon argues that since the Quran and Islamic literature says only Allah is Rab, master who has full authority over his property, and the Arabic Bible says Jesus is in fact Rab, jibreelk should not act as if the Arabic Bible is Islam's friend. Muslim scholar Ibn Kathir states, quote, Rab is the owner who has full authority over his property. Rab linguistically means the master or one who has the authority to lead.
Okay, I just want to make a really, really fast point here, and this is very interesting, right? So basically, he quotes Ibn Kathir. Okay, a Rab is the owner who has full authority over his property. A Rab linguistically means the master, the one who has authority to lead. Okay, full authority, okay? Now he's saying, Islamic literature basically is saying Allah is a Rab, right? And that is also in Arabic used for Jesus. Therefore, based on my understanding of the usage of Allah, if Rabb is used for Allah and is used for Jesus, therefore Jesus is Allah, right? Interesting, except for little glitch here, a little glitch. Now he is, and he will be quoting Hebrews, the book of Hebrews, about the issue of creation. However, he forgets something very interesting. And I'm not going again into a debate. I'm not. I just want to give you a little taste of the weakness, okay, of the argument and of what can come of in the debate of the Trinity. Rabb is the owner who has full authority over his property. Did Jesus have full authority? Who was the authority given by? If you were given full authority, okay, and control over your property, who are you? Are you the one who has full authority over everything? If you've been given it, now you might yield in having been given full authority over something, but are you the one who has, in the proper usage of the word, full authority? Because you cannot have full authority if your authority has been given. And we know that Jesus received his authority from who? From his so-called Father. Okay, I hope people don't misunderstand me here and don't misquote me. Jesus received his authority from his Father. Throughout the Bible, he says he does things on behalf of God, with the will of God, and so on and so forth. Not of his will, but the will of the Father. So is that someone who has full authority? That actually looks like someone who has authority given to him over things. You could call it authority in whatever level, but you have been given it. You've been doing things by the power that was investigated in you from someone who did things through you. Even if you want to side the issue of that all things were created through him, the creator and the one who did it, again, as it stated in the Bible, was God. Now, let's keep going.
All of these meanings are correct for Allah. When it is alone, the word Rab is used only for Allah. As for other than Allah, it can be used to say Rab, Adar, the master of such an object. Further, it was reported that Rab is Allah's greatest name, unquote.
Now, of course, because of the use, because of Sam's and Keith's lack of Arabic, they don't understand the usage of right here. Ar-Rab, the Lord, which of course denotes again what? That He is never given authority, but He has the authority. He's the one who gives authority, as He gave it to Jesus, and so on and so forth. Ibn Kathir states here about the usage of Rab. Okay, a Rab is the owner who has full authority over his property. A Rab linguistically means the master, the one who has the authority to lead. All these meanings are correct for Allah because He is right. He is the one who has power over everything, and no one invests Him with any power. But He's the one who invests people with power. He's the one who invested Jesus with power. He's the one who invested Muhammad with power. Peace be upon both of them. All of these meanings, it says, are correct for Allah. Okay, so based on this argument, you cannot use that for anyone other than Allah. When it is alone, the word Rabb is used only for Allah. Now, there might be a little confusion about this. A little confusion about this. And this is the statement of Ibn Kathir. I would have to check why he said that, but this is not from the Quran. This is his opinion. Okay, because why? Watch what Sam says.
However, the Arabic Bible in many places calls Jesus Rab, such as Hebrews 1:10-12, Acts 10:36, Romans 10:9, Mark 12:36-37, John 20:28.
With the same argument, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran is reported to say about, what did Pharaoh say? What did Pharaoh say? What did Pharaoh say about himself actually? فَقَالَ أَنَا رَبُّكُمُ الْأَعْلَى. He did not say that I'm just your Lord. Pharaoh said, I am your Lord, the Most High, Al-A'la. So can that argument that Sam is bringing forth about, well, Rabb is used for Allah, and it means He has full authority, and then Rabb is used for Jesus. Therefore, if we use that kind of approach, that means that Jesus is Allah. No, but Rabb also is used, and Pharaoh is calling himself not just Rabb, but Rabb the Most High. فَقَالَ أَنَا رَبُّكُمُ الْعَالَى. He said, I am your Lord the Most High. He didn't even say just Lord, Lord the Most High. He actually equates himself to Allah. Now, because he uses that statement, does that make him Allah? No. Right? And that is something that goes even back to just simple logic. He couldn't even hold his own pee, for God's sake. He had to pee. Is that Allah? Same with Jesus, for God's sake. Same with Jesus. Same with every human being here. How do you have full authority over anything when you cannot even have full authority of your body? And when you go to the washroom? When you have to sleep? You cannot control anything except what God gave you through. And same it is for Jesus. Whatever authority it was invested in him by the one and only God. Now, let's keep going.
Acts 2:33-36 and Psalm 110 verse 1, which states, quote, The Lord says to my Lord, Qala arabu li rabbi.
This would be one of our discussions about the Trinity, about Ladonai, the usage of the word Ladonai, and the whole issue and the debate surrounding Psalms 110. If people want to go and research it, go feel free right now. It's past our discussion. We are going back to the issue of Allah being Satan and the usage of the word Allah. And if you can, I'm going to just forward it right now to 430 because I just want to read one claim here. And that is about
Jesus' words in Matthew 22. I would refer him to the Quran. 7 verse 157.
I just want to show a flaw again in Sam's argument. Just a little flaw.
In my article, Heaven versus Jannah, I argue, quote, in 7 verses 157 of the Quran, Muhammad states, quote, those who follow the messenger, the prophet who can neither read nor write, whom they will find described in the Torah and the Gospel, which are with them. This verse is very crucial. Muhammad claimed that Allah said you can find Muhammad in the Torah and Gospel that is with them, meaning that people in the 7th century had records from God in their hands. That,
as I said, if anyone, any of the Muslims would disbelieve in the Torah, the Injil, and so on, whatever, we say they are from God, we say that they are corrupted, and this would be a whole different discussion that would be about the Trinity.
were good enough to salvage prophecy from.